Welcome back to the Bladtcast. 400 seconds celebrating 400 episodes of the Bladtcast. Every single one of them much longer than 400 seconds. But I don't think we would have gotten anywhere near 400 Bladtcasts without Will Sterling, and definitely not without Jeff DeRay. Jeff DeRay, though, really the last 200. The first, no, I guess it was really the last 300. The first 100 you weren't really around for, but you showed up at the end. But this is a great opportunity to ask both of you what the Bladtcast has meant to you. Will, I'll let you go first.
Well, I wish I could say something nice.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately, it's taken me 400 episodes to say how I really feel, which is, you guys are losers. And this whole time, I only hang out with you because you make me feel better about myself. And yeah, it's fine, but this is, I got to take this moment to say that I'm quitting officially.
No.
Finally, after, God, how many fucking
7.5
issues of this
years.
shit?
Almost 8 years to be
Yeah,
fair.
Action Comics is super old by this point. It's been a lot of fun. It's a good excuse to hang out, especially during quarantine. And after the radio show, I was like, I guess there won't be a podcast. And then it's like nice because it's kept the family together. Even Jeff in Boston regularly calling in. Somebody else moved to Boston, disappeared forever.
Wait, who are you talking about?
I don't even know. Same thing with Liev. Who knows?
He moved to Hermosa.
It's true that it's clear that the true Bladtcast is the three of us.
Man, this is the Mount Rushmore right here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And Trump's face next to us.
Yeah, and also Jeff also kept the Bladtcast alive because you would let us sit in your work, and you only almost got fired one time because of us. It was just one time out of all those times we went up there.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. Does this make me the is it Curly or Shemp who came later?
Shemp is later, but then there's also like Curly Joe Besser. There's a lot of like replacement stooges. So yeah, you're definitely the Shemp.
You can be Gummo Marks.
But yeah, I lost track. What was the question again?
You were just trying to figure out, your role in it, and I talked about how we only almost got you fired one time when we would go into your old work to record the show, which is such a crazy idea to think. I'm like, well, the only way we can record a podcast is if we go into a radio studio, and fortunately, I know someone in a radio studio. By the way, can you edit it for me? Thanks.
It was at the time. You'd think like because of what we were used to, and because like until you realize how simple recording a podcast can be, you think like, oh well, we need microphones, and we need somewhere for it to be fed, and we need somewhere to have the file recorded, and blah blah blah. So it was super convenient. And I also feel like the radio station I really liked a lot of those podcasts because it felt really easy and natural, because even like when we're at AfterBuzz, we're not really like facing each other like we were in the radio studios. Like it was always so much easier to do hand signals and shit like that. So I always loved those. Those were like a lot of great memories. I also feel like that's when the podcast was a little bit looser. Sometimes there's more beer episodes and things like that.
There was a lot more beer. Like I think we can bring back beer, though. I think that's a great point. I think for the next 400, we need to have more beer. Will, are you going to stand in the way of that proclamation?
Nope. We'll just have to be a lot more careful.
Well, yeah, but there's that. Yeah. Well, that's true. You know what? There was a lot of beer at the Christmas episode, and some would say too much beer.
Yeah.
Definitely. Not just people that you're looking at here, not just the three of us. There were definitely too much beer all around. Zia actually had a sip of beer that night, and she doesn't drink. So obviously that's where she's been ever since. She went off the rails after that. I think that, I don't know. I think that it's always been fun. It's been a great excuse to talk to you guys. And I always try to like do a lot more of those shows where I do interviews, and there's going to be a lot of interview shows throughout the rest of this week that I've already recorded, because I feel bad asking you guys to do this more often. When it was after the radio show, it was fine. Or it was like, oh, coming on into AfterBuzz, we'll do 2. And then I can ask you again for like a month, but I guess now it's like we are home.
Funny enough, the only reason this is actually like, it's obviously everybody's least favorite way to do it because we're over Zoom and and no one's together. But it's like we're sitting in our chairs working all day, and then when we get to podcasts, it's just more sitting in our chairs. And so like I just hurt, like I'm uncomfortable. I'm like, I fucking hate this. Like, yeah.
Well, and all three of us work in podcasting to some extent. And what would the three of us like to do when we're done? Oh yeah, more podcasts.
More podcasts, exactly.
No. Podcasting that you don't get paid for. But I don't know. I mean, I think we have fun, and we've gotten to know some fun people who actually like the Bladtcast. Some of them get into disagreements with mostly Will on Twitter, but even they truly come from a place of just liking the show and wanting to have fun.
Fights that often.
You don't pick fights. No. Other people will say things that you're like, well, now I have to respond to that.
That's true.
You know, and I'm not being critical of you I would never be critical of Bladtcast Nation. So,
one of those people apparently is no longer on Twitter.
Yeah, that is
I didn't realize that until
that is
recently.
not by his choice. Yeah.
Got it.
But he's still on Instagram. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. What would you say, Jeff?
Well, two things. One, there's a documentary that came out on Netflix that's really interesting, The Social Dilemma. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty. I liked it. It's a bunch of like engineers who made Facebook and all these things about how they kind of unintentionally made it addictive and all these problems with it.
Oh, boy.
And after having watched it, like I recognized how certain, like, because obviously I've got my problems with anger, right? And I recognized how, like, after watching some of these Karen videos, which are so popular now, I'll just be so worked up that any little thing, like I'm ready to like flip the table. Like I'm so pissed off. And it's because I'm watching these videos where there's situations where it's like, I wish I was there to affect something. This is so annoying to have to watch it. And it's like, holy shit, I'm mad because I'm watching dumb, angry people yell on a fucking phone. Like, I don't know, that realization. And that is also what has contributed to me just like wanting nothing to do with social media anymore. But
I've heard that the documentary is interesting, and I do want to check it out. I just I'm still slowly crawling through The Vow on HBO because
it's a good one too.
Yeah. So, but you know, I'm only just getting to the part where he's branding women and making them, you know.
Which one? What is this? Which one is this?
This is that NXIVM cult that the girl from Smallville got wrapped up in.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a documentary series about that on HBO that I haven't seen. I'm not caught up, but I recommend people see that. And Jeff, it's called The Social Dilemma, the thing you're talking about?
Yeah, it's a Netflix documentary is that one. But yeah, The Vow is really good. That and Lovecraft Country are like the thing I look forward to all week.
I've heard that's good. I definitely have to check it out. Will, what's your extracurricular assignment for Bladtcast Nation? Anything they should watch, read, mainline?
I'm like not watching that much stuff. I'm terrible at consuming media right now. I would recommend that everybody that want to check out comic books. I've been enjoying the death metal, Dark Knight's death metal thing. Just because it's so fucking insane. If they had read Dark Knight's Metal or any of that stuff, it's like they just really lean into how crazy it is, and I think that's surprisingly like very fun. And Wally West plays a pivotal role, but you know, that's what it is. And also, I'm watching just old horror movies on Amazon. So yeah.
I mean, we're less than a week away from October, so
I know.
It's gonna be a different Halloween, but that doesn't mean that
it's on a Saturday.
Yeah, it's on a Saturday, and we can't Halloween. But I think it's because this year is the season of the witch. But what do I know?
Oh, well, that's a great movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Will, as a guy with a Cthulhu head on your wall, I'm a little disappointed you haven't been watching Lovecraft Country.
I have been. Didn't we talk about this?
I think you talked about it, and
like you hadn't been, and I was like,
"Oh no, that's like the one new thing that I'm watching." Is Lovecraft Country.
I'm the loser who hasn't watched it yet, but I'll get to it. I do want to see it, but anyway. Well, I obviously want to thank both of you for all of your tireless efforts in keeping the Bladtcast afloat. And yes, we did devote the majority of the episode to Dennis Miller, but honestly, without him, I never would have met either of you. So, and I guess I never would have met my wife without him, as I said to him earlier. So, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I'll let each of you rank where these relationships stand.
You know what? Maybe if you never met Dennis, we still would have met and we could have gotten married.
You and Jeff?
Me and you.
Oh, me? Yeah. I mean, I think that was inevitable. We would have
No,
met
I think
somewhere.
Dennis actually put a wrench in our fate plans because we were supposed to be together, but it's fine.
Yeah. Well, that's a great
I was
point.
going to point out that I met you before Dennis, but then I realized that was only because of David being on the Dennis show.
And we wouldn't have known you or David because you were at the, I forget what he called his 30th birthday party.
It was exactly what I was wearing, a Santa hat bikini, double kegger.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that is the party where my wife did a keg stand.
And so did I. It was me and Heather's first keg stand.
Yeah. How many keg stands have you done since then, Will?
But did you get sexually
two.
assaulted during your keg stand? Because I did.
Who'd you get assaulted by?
Me.
That one girl whose
initials are like Pearl Jam?
Oh.
No. The friend who ended up getting married to another one of David's friends. Dick or whatever.
Not the one on the roof.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know who that. Yeah. So you got assaulted.
He held me up by my genitalia for one of the keg stands and then did some groping. And I was like, stop. But I couldn't say that because I was drinking beer.
Yeah. Well, that's a great excuse, Your Honor. That's why I couldn't say anything. I couldn't.
It's the Kavanaugh. It's the Kavanaugh conundrum.
I like beer.
Yeah. Maybe too much beer.
So I think we now have the story that's going to prevent Jeff from ever being on the Supreme Court. But up until this moment, you were a shoo-in for the Supreme Court. But Jeff likes beer. Can't go.
Nothing makes me happier than like that image of Brett Kavanaugh crying, saying, "I still like beer."
Look, I would say that's the most relatable thing about him. Like, I would cry over the idea of how much I like beer.
The idea that these are the guys like that people prop up as like representing this like hyper masculine party, and like these are the dudes that they're putting up. I'm like, oh, I can't.
Okay, so you're gonna try and find me a more manly man than Lindsey Graham or Mitch McConnell.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible. Okay, so
and crack that turtle shell.
What's the name? What's the Sedaris? The Amy Sedaris' brother. What's his name?
David.
Like Paul something Sedaris. David Sedaris.
I think it's David. Yeah.
You put David Sedaris and Lindsey Graham next to each other and just like spun them around. I would not know who was who. If I had to like turn around and just no, their voices at least. I would have no idea.
Well, thank you guys, and you'll be getting a text soon to join me again for the Bladtcast. I'm gonna have to watch some of this stuff that we've been talking about, and I actually bought some death metal because I had heard that one of the issues I did it just as like an investment, but I've actually heard very good things about it. So I'm actually going to read at least the 2 that I bought. So
wait, what was the investment?
I mean, I just bought it because like one of them, this was like a month or 2 ago, was like being resold the week it came out for like $25. So I'm like, all right, let me buy that one. So
I'm doing the tie-ins too, because they're all one shots. So it's like, it's the first thing in a long time that I've like leaned into doing tie-ins. I'm doing it.
Well, they canceled everything else, so you might as well.
That's true.
Keep reading it.
I bought some Star Wars comics on my iPad.
Are you reading like the current ones, like Bounty Hunters?
No, it's more. I got the bunch of the Darth Vader ones.
Yeah.
The ones where it's like it picks up right at the end of episode 3. Like the first one is him coming off the table and then slamming the Emperor and going to get his lightsaber and shit. That one's really cool. And then I got one today that I started reading, which is like the history of Kylo Ren. And so it's a little bit about the Knights of Ren and him smashing up the temple.
Can you tell me more about Darth Vader slamming the Emperor? Because I don't think I read that issue.
It's just like in that scene that's famous where he's like, wake up, he's like, no! Like instead of him just crushing everything around him, they show like a panel of him basically throwing the Emperor into this thing behind him by like in his little fit of rage, and then the Emperor's like, "Oh, it's okay. You're angry." And then he electrocutes Darth Vader, and he's like, "Don't fucking touch me with the Force." He's like so mad.
See,
it's great.
When you said slamming, I thought it was in another sense. I thought it was some real DVDA, is what I thought.
I was not reading hentai. No.
Well, there's always going to be that version of the book. Anyway, thanks again to you both. Thanks again to Bladtcast Nation, Dennis Miller, and you know what? Thanks to Coltrane. Thanks to Liev. Come on, they were a part of the show, and sometime might be, maybe not. We'll see. And I see Chuck the pup. Chuck the pup.
Charlie boy, come here.
And I think that's Chuck the Pup's first appearance on the Bladtcast, by the way. So great to see him. Jeff's like, wait, guys, I have a dog too. I have a dog.
Charlie!
It's
another Charlie. Her name's
Another Charlie. Why would anyone want to play with a Charlie in the box?
That's my favorite.
And on that note, we will see you next time on